Audrey Knauer lived in a one-bedroom apartment in the Highlands. Always paid her rent early for 20 years. Knauer was private, often wore black, and loved to fence. She was a former chemist, a PhD, and stashed away every dime that she made.
Hello.
She was also a huge fan of the actor Charles Bronson. So much so that when she died at the age of 56, Bronson found out that he was in her will.
His reaction was that she probably had 25 cents to her name, if she was lucky.
In 1996, Audrey Knauer wrote out her final will on an emergency phone list from the telephone book, a year before her death. It says, quote, "Under no circumstances is my mother, Helen, to inherit anything from me, blood, body parts, financial assets, etc. I bequeath to Charles Bronson, in parentheses, the talented character actor, and what he doesn't want can pass through to the Louisville Free Public Library." The value of her estate, with interest, $291,975. Bronson accepted $160,000 of the will. Still, the Louisville Free Public Library made a plea to Bronson to pass the entire estate to them.
That's enough for us to buy 20,000 books. We could stock a branch library completely with brand new materials.
Why was the library in her will? We found Audrey had been a regular there, where records showed she regularly checked out Charles Bronson movies and books about him. Her sister Nancy and her family would dispute the will because they felt Audrey was mentally unstable.
This is a few really kind of like hysterical lines scratched on top of a phone list. I don't know what mental state she was in when she wrote that.
The scribbled phone list version was legal, though. Kentucky law allows for holographic wills or handwritten wills.
The plaintiff is going to have to show that there was something seriously wrong with this woman at the time she made the will, not when she died.
Nancy felt her sister's unhealthy fascination with Charles Bronson proved her impaired mental state.
She saw the death wish where he is avenging his family. She became obsessed with Charles Bronson. She has never met the man. I look at him and I think, please, how can you not? I don't understand. You didn't know her, you didn't love her, I did.
Even if she leaves all her money to Charles Bronson or Arnold Schwarzenegger, it's not going to make her necessarily incompetent.
It would have been difficult to evaluate Knauer's mental condition anyway, as she never saw a doctor or psychiatrist in her 20 years in Louisville. What further complicated the matters was the discovery of 3 new wills in April of 1999. They were all written by Knauer and left everything to the Hollywood actor Bronson.
Well, they're very lucid. They're extremely well written, and she describes basically her admiration for Mr. Bronson, and in one place she describes her conviction that he was her father in a previous lifetime. She believed in reincarnation.
In the end, Nancy settled with Bronson for an undisclosed amount. Charles Bronson was willing to donate $10,000 to the Louisville Free Public Library as long as the benefactor remained anonymous. It was a deal breaker, not when you're the public library.
This story is being talked about broadly. I can't undo that. I can't unring the bell and make this suddenly a secret, anonymous story.